Hey y'all, how's it going out there? I hope you're doing well. I figured I would go ahead and do another video on some singing bowl sequencing. Last couple videos I was noticing seemed to get a lot of video views, so thank you all for that. And I just figured I'd do another one. I've had this kind of cooking in my brain for a little while. We'll go ahead and get into it, and we'll see how far we can get. I'll go ahead and discuss what we're talking about, and then I'll kind of demo it. I'm hoping that you can read my lovely little poster board thing here, and that you'll be able to hear the sounds being picked up. I'm just running this off of a webcam mic into my laptop. So hopefully the sound picks up. As you can tell, I'm not where I usually set up my bowls on my pool table. I'm kind of changing, I guess, my environment a little bit. I guess just for funsies. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more inspirational. Either way, I guess this is what we got going on. We'll give it a try. We'll see how it works. If you guys have any comments about it, if you don't like the way it sounds, if it doesn't look right, if you can't read this, I'm going to walk you through what I'm talking about here. I spent probably a good 25 minutes probably trying to get this in line with the lighting and all that crap, and I'm pretty much over it and I want to film. So that's what I'm going to do. So today we are going to talk about, I guess, some more singing bowl sequencing. And what we're going to talk about is the scale of thirds and maybe a couple different ways you can sequence the scale of thirds. I'm not that musically inclined. I know a little bit. I played guitar way back in the 1900s, I guess, when I was a teenager in the 90s. But I didn't really pick up on it and do a whole lot. So some of this is kind of just me liking singing bowls and vibing. Some of this is a little bit of research with a little bit of knowledge that I've picked up over time. I guess, whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the content, right? So let's go ahead and start talking about it. This is a scale of thirds. If you remember, maybe in music class, if you took that, you probably heard about the Every Good Boy Does Fine, which is a scale of notes, E, G, B, D, F, and that is a scale of thirds. So that is the bowls that I have set up in front of me here. The E bowl is here. The G bowl is here. The B is here. The D bowl is here. And the F bowl is here. Okay? So E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. Okay? That's how that will work. My D bowl, I've always thought was a little bit weird sounding. Every time I test it, it hits the D note and then it resonates. It seems a little bit maybe off resonance or off scale to the rest of my bowls. I typically, when I'm messing with my singing bowls, I don't really use it too much, except for maybe like, what would you call it? Like punctuation points, I guess, or maybe to possibly create just a little bit of unease or like, I guess, a little bit of tension within the singing bowls to whatever, create some tension or like make it as a stopper for the next sequence I'm doing or however I want to do it. I don't know why, but the D in my A bowl, which I don't have up here right now because I'm trying to keep it smaller and compact, and I only have these 5 notes to deal with anyway, seems to work pretty well with the D note bowl. I do that a little bit, I think, in that Ringing Singing 25 singing bowl video I did a long time ago. I was usually combining the D and the A. But just so you guys know, if this sounds weird, I know it's a little bit weird, but I didn't really want to change the note out and mess with, you know, something that is pretty much been around forever. So that's what we're going to do with this. And again, it's the E, G, B, D, F. If you need a mnemonic to memorize it, of course, it's Every Good Boy Does Fine. and then you start with the E, G, B, D, F. Okay, and I have two different little sequences I kind of came up with that I was going to kind of talk about and go over and maybe demo real quick for you guys. So obviously what I just did, E, G, B, D, F, is the first one in the sequence, okay? Now what you can do is once you figure out your sequencing, now you can do this not on this scale, of course, right? If you have singing bowls that you prefer, that you like, that you think sound good together, and you want to try to replicate this, you can. But I would definitely set it up and try it out and see how it sounds before, you know, jumping into it during like a singing bowl session or whatever, just so you can work the kinks out and you have everything in the order that you want for this kind of sequencing type deal. So the structure is basically based on this Every Good Boy Does Fine. You have a different note structure, different note scale. You can probably just do this and just change the note scale around to match what your notes are. But for demonstration purposes, we're keeping it simple with this. And what I have on this side is you start with E, G, B, D, F. Then once you have that, once you go through that, then basically you just move over. So it goes E, G, B, D, F. Then you would go G, B, D, F, E. Then you would go B, D, F, E, G. Then you would go D, F, E, G, B. Then you would go F, E, G, B, D. And then you would go E, G, B, D, F, which was the start back up here. You can do this, you know, if you were wanting to do some type of timing with this, of course, you could do a E, G, B, D, F twice, 3-4 times. Generally, like a 4x4 kind of thing is like a measure. You can do eighths, whatever, but that's a little bit past this. But that's going to be up to you and how you want to make your sound session sound, right? But you could totally do that. You could do E, G, B, D, F, and you could play that through like twice. Then you can move to the G, B, D, F, E and play that through twice. Then you could go to the B, D, F, E, G and play that through twice. Then the D, F, E, G, B twice, the F, E, G, B, D twice, the E, G, B, D, F twice, and so on. You could also possibly do something where you could either start at a certain number, like say 4, and you could go through however many of these that you wanted to do 4 times. So you could do E, G, B, D, F 4 times, right? Then you would go and do the G, B, D, F, E 4 times all the way down. When you start back up here, you would actually do this one only 3 times the next time, or maybe 2. However you want to program it, however long you want to play, right? If you do it 2 times, the next time, then maybe you could go and do it like, you know, however you want. Generally, you want to keep it consistent though. So if you're going to do it twice, do all of them twice, go back up and then do them 1 time through, right? Or go 1 time through, 2 times through. It just varies on how you want to play and how you want it to sound. So to demo that, I think I am going to actually use this striker here. It seems to have a little bit better of a sound, I would think, instead of this guy. This is a little bit of a harder, it gives it a more sharp attack. And I know I use that for the first thing through, but I'm going to use this one for now. So we'll go ahead and do this like 1 time through, just so you guys can kind of see and maybe hear how it sounds. And we'll get into the next one after that. So here we go. Thirds, E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. So again, that was E, G, B, D, F, this sequence right here. So now that I went through that sequence, the next time I'm going to start with the G and go G, B, D, F, E. Now I'm kind of going a little bit faster maybe than I would be playing this like out for whatever during a sound session, and that's just, you know, to kind of keep everything condensed for brevity of the video, right? You know, but you probably want to have an idea. You probably know how your bowls sound if you've been practicing, but you probably want to have an idea of how long you want each of your bowls to kind of carry that resonance out before you strike the next one. I'm kind of mentally in my head going about 6 to 10-ish seconds, I think, but I'm not really doing a count, so that's kind of what I'm doing. Again, that is just for brevity of the video. In like the real world scenario, you would definitely want to know how long you want each bowl to ring out for whatever sequence you got going on. So now we're going to do now we're going to do G, B, D, F, E. Now we'll do B, D, F, E, G. I'm just kind of running it faster to build that resonance up and get that sound to encapsulate everything. But now we'll do D, F, E, G, B. Remember, my D is a little bit funky, so. And then, of course, we started with the D last time, so then we'll go to F, E, G, B, D, and then the sequence starts back around. So. Then you would just go however you want to do it, but then that sequence starts again. All right. So I hope that made sense. I hope you kind of followed along. Again, like I said, this is just for demonstration purposes. You could do each one of these like a certain number of times before you move on to the next one. So again, you could do this, the first like E, G, B, D, F, you could do it 4 times. You could do the G, B, D, F, E 4 times. You could do the B, D, F, E, G 4 times. Then you could do the D, F, E, G, B 4 times. That would technically kind of be like a 4x4 scale, which is fine. Then what you could do is you could just start it over. You could do these a couple, like you could just break that down 4 here, and then you could start here and do this one 4 times, this one 4 times, this one 4 times, this one 4 times. That's your other 4, 4. And then what you would do is you would basically kind of just work it like that way, I guess, in a way, right? You're still kind of going in the sequence, but those are ways you can do one, like you do your set of 4, You can do your set of 4x4 or whatever. You can stop. You can change into like Koshi chimes. I don't have those up here right now. I don't have the space, but you could do like a gong for a second. You could you know, go through it one time, I guess. And then what you could do is, since I'm starting with the G this time, when I get back to the E, I could do some rim play with that one. And then every one I go back to in that sequence, I would just do some rim play for a second while everything else runs out. So to demonstrate that, it would be, so I did E, G, B, D, E, or F, I'm sorry, E, G, B, D, F. So now I would do G, B, D, F, but then after I hit the F, I would do rim play on the E while everything sings along, and then when it dies down, I would quit with this one. I would go over to B, I would do B, D, F, E, and then I would do the rim play on the G. So real quick to showcase that, it would be, I already did the E, F, G, B, D, E. So we'll do G, B, D, F, rim play on the E this time. I'm going to kind of be a little bit quick just to show you guys. So it'd be like, so we started with the G that time. So now we'll start with B. We'll go B, D, F, E, and then we'll do the rim play on the G. And I'll just do that real quick, just so you guys can have a better idea. Here's your B. Oh, I forgot the E. I got ahead of myself. All right. Well, that happens. Getting a little too ahead of myself. So we'll try that again. So we'll do B, D, F, E, rim play on the G. Let's try that one more time. Ready? Here we go. Now, of course, you can pick a number of times you want to do the rim play as this, as you know, the bowls die out, or as you're doing the sequence. You know, you could do it 4 times around. You could do it, you know, 5 times around. You could do it as long as you want. You could do it until all the resonance of the other bowls dies out, and then you could stop. And then, of course, we did rim play on this one, so that means it would go D, F, E, G, and then rim play on the B note, right? So. And then, of course, you would just go right around. So since the B was the next one, then of course you would do how you would just go through, right? So if B was the one that we did for the rim play, because we started with D, we start with F next time, and we go F, E, G, B, and then we do the rim play on the D note. Then we would skip to F, of course, because that's the next one in the sequence, right? And then you would go E, G, B, D, and then rim play on the F, or however you want to do it. I might have messed that up now that I was talking it out and thinking through at the same time, but I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to convey, hopefully. The next sequence that we're going to go ahead and discuss is this other kind of one, where you still start with E, G, B, D, F if you want. You probably should, but there's really no rules. As long as it sounds good, it doesn't really matter. But you start normal with E, G, B, D, F if you can, or you can just move it to this one here, which you would basically double up every consecutive note, right? So if you start with E, G, B, D, F, the next turn through, you do E, E, G, B, D, F. And then the next time through, you could do E, G, G, B, D, F. And then the next time through, you could do E, G, B, B, D, F. And then, of course, next time through, it would be E, G, B, D, D, F. And then E, G, B, D, F, F. And then you would start it back over with E, E, G, B, D, F. The thing with this is, of course, there is that extra note inside of this where, like, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't like that, what you would do is you would just basically eliminate, like, basically the F note on the back end, or you would do you would eliminate this one. So if it's E, E, G, B, D, F up here, probably what you would actually want to do is you would want to eliminate the E and just do G, G, B, D, F, right? So actually, this one, I take that back. You'd want to do E, E, G, B, D. If you don't want the sixth note, you would do E, E, G, B, D, and then you would do G, G, B, D, F, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you would do G, B, B, D, F, and then you would do B, D, D, F, E, and then you would do D, F, F, E, G. Is how that would is a couple different ways you can sequence that. So if you wanted to do the first way through the 6-note or the 6-note scale or whatever you'd want to call it, that would be kind of like this. And I'll go ahead and demo that through a couple times, and then we'll try it that other way that I just talked about too. So this would be, again, I'm not going to let these ring out as long as I normally probably would during, I guess, an actual sound bath session, just to keep things kind of short. I hope it sounds okay and you get the idea, but we'll just go ahead and get right into it here. So E, E, G, B, D. We're going to then F, all right? I'll do that like for the first 3 in the sequence, then we'll try it the other way. This should just be enough to give you guys an idea of how you can think through sequencing some of this stuff with singing bowls, right? So E, E, G, B, D, F. Let's go. All right, so we did E, E, G, B, D, F. Now we're going to do G, G, B, D, E, or B, D, F, E. Okay? So we did E, E, G, B, D, F. We did G, G, B, D, F, E. And then we'll do B, B, D, F, E, G. Now we're going to continue the sequence, of course. It would be D, D, F, E, G, B. Which I'll do real quick. Alright, I just looked at my recording time. We're at about 28 minutes. That seems kind of long for all this. So I'm just going to real quick do the EE, like how I was talking for that very last thing. So, I mean, it's basically the same thing. I'm just going to go E, E, G, B, D, and then G, G, B, D, F, and then B, B, D, and then B, B, D, F, E. And then we'll call this good. So I'll do that real quick, just so you can guys kind of have an idea of how that would sound. Again, even with this, if you wanted to do a sequence like twice and keep going through them in like that loop or that pattern, you can. You could do it 4 times. Keep it consistent though, right? So if you're going to go E, E, G, B, D 4 times, then you'd want to do G, G, B, D, F 4 times. Then you'd want to do the B, B, D, F, E 4 times, right? And then again, the one that you're leaving out, so if you were doing E, E, G, B, D, then you could totally take the F one, the F bowl, and do a little bit of rim play on that one, and then move over to G, G, B, D, F, and then do the rim play on the E. Totally fine to do it that way. In fact, I might actually just do that now that I just discussed it, just to see what it sounds like, and you guys get to come along with me. So how cool is that? So E, E, G, B, D, rim play on the F note. Let's hit it. Alright, so we did the EEGBD with rim play on the F. I'll do GGBDF with rim play on the E note real quick. And then So that is some, I guess, ideas for sequencing. I don't know if you'd say this is basic sequencing. Maybe it is, since we're doing this kind of elementary, every good boy does fine type of deal. But there it is. A little bit more singing bowl sequencing ideas. I guess this would be the third video I've done on this. I hope you guys found it informative, educational, possibly entertaining. I don't mind making these videos. I enjoy them. If the bowls sounded bad, I'm sorry. I hope they sounded okay through the webcam. Let me know in the comments if you like this video, if you want to see more of them, or if you want to see some other type of content. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions. So keep them coming. And peace, everybody. Take care of yourselves.